Hi my loves, welcome back to my channel. I'm sure you can tell by my voice that I have a bad sore throat, but I wanted to do this voiceover just because I wanted to tell you how I did this makeup look. This makeup look hands down was my favorite one. This is the makeup I wore to my chachu's wedding in Mississauga, so here it is. I always like to use this primer. This is the Milani Cosmetics primer that kind of looks like a greenish consistency, and once I apply it with my foundation brush, I like to always go in with my fingertips and make sure I've melted the primer into my skin. For my foundation here, I'm using Milani Cosmetics foundation, and this is actually the second bottle I've got ever since the first one obviously finished up. But this foundation is one of the best foundation hands down, just because it blends into your skin so nicely, and it has such a beautiful full coverage that you probably don't even have to apply any color corrector and all that stuff. So if you can notice, I've actually used 2 shade darker foundation onto my face, because 2 shade darker foundation actually will have a lot of yellow or orange undertone in it, which will easily cover my hyperpigments and discoloration on my face. Now when it came to doing the highlights, I'm actually using the e.l.f. concealer, which is very full coverage, and I use 2-tone, one that has a little bit of pink undertone and one that has a little bit of the orange undertone, so that way when I kind of blend together, it gives me more of a neutral tone and kind of cancels out that orangey tone of the foundation. Now once you apply this and blend it into the face, I know it's going to look really scary because it's a lot of lighter tones that I'm applying, but don't be scared, because of course this is just highlighting the face. We also have contouring that's going to come afterwards. Good thing about blending it with a beauty blender is any excess foundation or excess products gets absorbed to the beauty blender, so nothing is going to be left behind that's going to be excess. And considering the fact that I always get laugh lines around my mouth, of course I always try to avoid any thick layers around my mouth, but yeah, either way you will still end up getting it. So that's why I always like to blend it with a beauty blender, because beauty blender takes off any excess product from your face away while also blending it and kind of giving you that coverage. But if you want absolute full coverage and you want to stick to that product, like you want to give that full coverage look and do not want to blend it out till it's, you know, like majority of the product is kind of gone, so to try blending it with a foundation brush rather. Foundation brush always gives you much of a fuller coverage without taking excess product away from the face. Okay, so here's the contour part. This is the terracotta contour bronzer / contour that I've been recently using by Anastasia Beverly Hills, and as you can see, as heavy as I went with my highlighter, I'm also going pretty heavy when it came to contouring. And I'm here using an angular dense brush to sort of apply that product onto the parameters of my face, and here I'm just blending it away. It's a little tricky when it's blending, but you also want to make sure you don't come too close to the highlighted areas, otherwise you're going to end up having to apply all that concealer all over again. So always try to avoid not, you know, crisscrossing the areas of highlight and contour zones. And I'm using the same to apply nose contour, but for this I'm using a smaller brush so it stays, you know, sort of like within its parameters. And using a beauty blender, I'm just blending it away. And here I'm just making sure that I take the contouring up to the eyes. And for liquid blush, I'm using Joy, I believe that's what it's called, by Rare Beauty. And applying that a little bit on the nose and using my beauty blender to blend it away. It took me a long time to get used to this whole cream blush as well. For the longest time I never used that, so I'm actually quite loving this. So before I went in to set my under eyes, I made sure I blend my under eyes any creasing with a beauty blender before I went in with a smaller brush, and I'm just tapping this Laura Mercier's fine finish powder. It has a tiny bit of sheen to it, which I don't mind because I love that sheen. It kind of gives you more of a dewy look. And I'm just going over those areas where I usually get lines, like under the eyes, around the mouth, or around the bridge of the nose. And here I'm going in with the One Size pink powder and sort of going over my high points of my face. I love this pink powder. I think I've been a big fan of this pink powder. Initially, I always used to use Ben Nye's pink powder and yellow powder. I used to mix them together. But recently, I've been only using the pink powder by One Size a lot, and I love it. And here I'm just dusting away any excess powder sitting on my face. Next, I'm going to be doing my brows. For that, I'm using my brow powder by Anastasia Beverly Hills. I believe it's called Dark Chocolate, but don't call me on it. I'm going to double check before I put all the names down below on the description box for you guys to have a look. And recently, I have been quite obsessed with the powder eyebrows versus brow pencils or brow pomade. Brow pomade gives a more of an intense look, so I end up going with the powder, and it's also much easier to apply. I've used two setting sprays. One is by Kryolan and one is by Morphe. Here I'm using Milani Cosmetics blush. This is the Rose d'Oro, one of my favorite. As you can see, it's already touching the pan. This is the Opal highlighter by Becca Cosmetics. Right now, Becca Cosmetics has been discontinued, but this is the newer one that I got that is under Smashbox Cosmetics. So Smashbox and Becca have collaborated to create this most popular, iconic highlighters. And I'm basically highlighting away the higher points of my face. I've recently got my hands on the Rare Beauty highlighters, and I do have to admit, I do love it quite a lot. But I also love Becca highlighter because it always gives a very fine, beautiful skin-like finish. So I love that a lot. For the eyeshadow palette, I'm using Too Faced Born This Way, the Natural Nudes palette. And the first color that I'm actually blending it all over my crease and also my under eyes is called a color called Petal, which is kind of like a pinkish mauve brown tone. And I'm using the same thing on my under eyes and also on my crease. And for my lid, I'm applying the color called Rose Gold from that same palette and using a flat brush to sort of press that shimmer eyeshadow onto my lid all over. Now it's time for the inner corners and under eyes a little bit. The inner under eyes. So for that I've used the color called Shimmering Pearl, which is kind of like a pearly color. Now instead of doing a solid liquid liner or a gel liner, I'm going in with this color called Truffle, which is the truffle, which is the darker brown eyeshadow color, and I'm using an angular brush to sort of create an eyeliner effect look and drawing it really close to my lash line like how I would normally do my eyeliners. You can also wing it more if you like. I kept it quite simple, and here I'm just dusting away any fallout on my face. And here I'm just using that same angular brush to create that wing liner look. You can always even use an eyeshadow as a guideline before applying a real eyeliner. It always helps as well. This is the Super Fan Mascara by Smash Cosmetics, one of my favorites actually. And I'm just applying some mascara on my top lashes and bottom lashes. And here I'm applying the same truffle color on my under eyes as well. It always helps because this trick always makes your lower lashes look like more thicker And also it kind of makes your eyes look bigger when you leave your waterline like natural and just apply a little bit of dark eyeshadow right under your lower lash line. Now for a lip liner, I'm using NYX Cosmetics brown lip liner. This is called Cappuccino. It's number 805. Once the lip liner is done, the next lipstick that I'm going to apply, it's called Pillow Talk by Charlotte Tilbury. This is their liquid lipstick. I do have the regular lipstick, but I love the liquid lipstick just because liquid lipsticks, I don't know, it just applies a lot better, easier, and it doesn't transfer. Once I'm done, I'm just using a flat brush to marry the lip liner and the lipstick sort of together. Otherwise, there's still going to be a good difference between the brown and the pink. Once that's all done, I'm just going to set myself with some setting spray, which I already did behind the cameras, and this is the final look looks like. Let me know what you guys think, guys. I am in love with the white saree paired with emerald jewelry set. I hope you love this tutorial. Let me know what you guys think, and don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe.